go after a immigrant who has a criminal record. You find him at home. His wife is there. She does not have a criminal record. Does she get arrested?
Illegally in the United States?
If she is. If she's undocumented, does she get arrested too?
Yes. She will be processed, and we'll let the immigration judge decide what happens to her.
You're talking around Inauguration Day, even on Inauguration Day?
I'm not going to forecast what we're doing and where we're doing it, but you can count on worksite enforcement coming back.
Will mass deportation hurt the economy?
I think mass deportation and results of mass deportation are more important to this country than anything.
What happens January 21st? Where do you start?
Well, there's three rails we'll start the first day. Number one, we're going to secure the border. Number two, we're going to run the deportation operation. And number three, we'll look for these 300,000 kids. We'll find them too. President Trump's been clear. We're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first because they pose the most danger to this nation. So day one, we're going to be looking for these public safety threats, arresting them, detaining them, and deporting them. And if these sanctuary city mayors don't want to help, they get the hell out of the way because we're coming and we're doing it.
We thought they weren't going to do mass deportations. They've found a way to do it. Now, if you are not just an undocumented immigrant, but also if you're just a non-U.S. citizen, so that includes residents as well, if you commit any number of acts, they can put you in a detention camp and keep you there until your immigration case is resolved, which could take years. And then on top of that, if the state doesn't like how the federal government handles your immigration case, like let's say they are like, actually this person has to stay in the country, and the state doesn't like that, and they can prove they were harmed by $100, then they can sue the federal government. Which means that at a certain point, the federal government's courts are going to be so overwhelmed by all of these new immigration cases, and then so overwhelmed by the lawsuits against them anytime a state doesn't like the outcome, that essentially the federal government's going to be put in a position where their decisions on immigration cases will essentially be no one's allowed to stay in the country. Now, the important thing to notice here is that it's not deportation. It's detention centers, which are going to turn into detention camps. And, fun fact, slavery is outlawed in America unless it's punishment for a crime. If you have an issue with the fact that 30% of the people fighting the fires in LA right now are unpaid prisoners, get ready to be furious, okay? Because these detention centers are basically going to turn into hubs for unpaid immigrant slave labor for massive U.S. corporations. And to the people who are like, well, they might as well contribute to society by doing some work. Hey, dum-dum, that doesn't make prices lower for you. It means now the immigrants will be taking your jobs because they can get free labor for the manufacturing instead of paying any of y'all to do it. And it's not going to make prices go down because, as we saw from the pandemic, the number one cause of soaring prices is greedflation, not inflation or cost of production. So they will continue to increase their profits and continue to raise prices for you and give your jobs to these undocumented immigrants who are now forcibly detained, probably unlawfully, in these detention centers.